from the Ecuadorian. All even at one. That is a response. FC Dallas pulls up some players underneath. Ariola slots that one wide. And from a somewhat...
Hey, and we are live. Welcome, everybody, on this Monday, June 3rd. Welcome to the Afterburn Soccer Show. I'm your host here, Nathan Hill. You can follow me at Nathan J. Hill. Technical difficulties means no camera for Jose tonight, but he is here with us. Yeah, at El Chico Carmona. You can follow him. In fact, here's what I did. I did this, so it looks like you're there.
Hey, I'll take it.
Just grabbed your
perfect.
photo from your X account, but because this just happened, we don't know what's going on, but we're here, and what's important is audio for those folks who are going to come along and listen a little bit later, but as well those folks joining us live. We'll take your comments and your questions. We have a lot of soccer to get into as we think about FC Dallas and North Texas Soccer Club. Busy week. Also, we're seeing some international call-ups and things like that, so we may try to touch base on those things as we get going. And we got some video from head coach Nico Estevez on FC Dallas's week, and North Texas head coach John Gall a little bit later in the show. But we'll just start with our instant reactions, Jose. It was a long week. Emotional week. FC Dallas gave up that 3-0 lead at home last weekend. Disappointed, let down some fans, feeling the weight and the burden of this moment. But they then turned around and faced a very difficult travel week, coming out here to Southern California and playing first the Los Angeles Galaxy on Wednesday night, which they ended up losing 3-1, but for a good stretch, it was a 1-1 game. Delgado, as you saw in the opening credits, was able to find an equalizing goal. A really nice play from him, he's just absolutely in form. But the team collapsed. The team collapsed with the second yellow to Tafari, and that was all she wrote. And then Saturday they went over to BMO Stadium and took on Los Angeles FC in a very cagey, very tactically oriented match where, once again, we saw lots of moments where the team played really well and really strong against LAFC's formidable attack. But in the end, it was just one Buanga run that turned Ibiaga around, and not much Paz can do, as good as he has been. Jose, what are your reactions to these results this week? Are you surprised, or was this just the reality that probably Dallas was going to have to be pretty special to get some positives this week?
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, we always knew that this was going to be a tough road trip. You got FC Dallas basically playing maybe the four best teams in the West that are currently in form right now, as far as form's concerned. And my goodness, I got my hopes up against LAG, but this team continues to, run out of gas. Basically, they were playing well against the Galaxy, but of course, yes, you got that red card because of the double yellows, but you have to admit that the team continues to play well in the first half, and then slowly, gradually begins to fade at some point in the second half. And I gotta say, the LAFC match, and please let me remind you that this is a very low bar. It's the best I've seen the team play when it comes to possession. What I mean by that is, in this current run and for most of the season, the Dallas has just struggled to maintain any possession at all.
Yeah.
I mean, and string passes together and stuff like that. And in this match, they played LAFC pretty even as far as that was concerned. And it wasn't like LAFC was saying, here, you can just have the ball, which is what some teams who want you to have the ball and want to hit you in the counter. But LAFC wasn't trying to do that, and so FCD went out there and looked the best as far as that's concerned, because that they've looked all season. It's a low bar. I get that. Before people get like, oh my God, you can't say that. I can say that. They've been horrible all year. The bar so so low. I mean, the sad thing is FC Dallas is it's not that they don't play well at times, but that's just it. Is they seem to play well for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, but they can't seem to string it together for the entirety of a match. And but that said, I did see some good signs that they're starting to get better. The question is, this improvement that we're seeing, is it coming too late? I mean, you're staring at the barrel of another loss coming up against Minnesota United, another team that's in
Hmm.
excellent form, and you could wager that if Dallas could play even better than they did against LAFC, and would still be in danger of suffering a loss on the
Yeah.
road. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if the team plays better. At the end of the day, it's all about results. And all this road trip will show is you have two losses right now, and that's all everyone's going to talk about. And the question is, is Nico starting to get on the hot seat because of this? Because at the end of the day, you can't simply ignore a bad, loss after loss after loss.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The question is sort of what role the Hunts have in this moment, how much pressure they're putting on Nico, and I didn't get the sense from my limited interactions with staff, since I was able to attend the matches this week, living out here in Southern California, that there isn't, that Nico is walking around with, just like we saw,
No,
Pineda
no,
getting
I know
fired.
what.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it does raise questions. I'm just pointing to Hoch's
Yeah,
comment there. Yeah, I don't. I think Nico's trying to win. I think they want this team to win. I think they want to mimic the United States men's national team. They want to, they want to build players that can raise the profile of the club and develop those players, and yeah, and sell some along the way. But um, yeah, I think they want to win. I think it would be a not very attractive project for players to come to for a guy like Musa, who is worth every penny. I don't think he'd come here if it was just like, hey, we're not really interested in winning. We're just gonna develop guys. No, I think these players want to win, but it just hasn't worked. It's a very
the
particular
the
strategy.
injuries have been too much,
Yeah.
combined with the fact that Nico refuses to get away from implementing it, the three, backline, which in all honesty, because of the injuries, he should have walked away from it. And I mean, he's betting the season that the team will eventually start, pull a Seattle and just go on a hot tear, which is still very much a possibility. But let's face it, it's not happening at the moment, and it's asking a lot, especially from the fans. And I just want to say that I don't believe Nico really is in a hot seat, and I don't think that the Hunts would fire him unless they were staring at being eliminated from the playoffs. I think that's one of two ways that Nico possibly gets fired, and we're too far away from that. So that's not a thing. I don't think he's worried about that. The second thing, though, that could also get him fired is if all of a sudden the attendance starts to drop, or they fail to sell, tickets in League's Cup or anything like that. Because you got to remember, we started with all those sellouts,
Hmm.
and some people, they start getting a sellout and another sellout, and all of a sudden they expect it, and all of a sudden, if attendance starts to drop, the Huns will go, wait a minute, this guy's hurting our bottom line, and that could get him fired. That's honestly, those are the two things to look out for. Is attendance starts to drop for home matches. The Hunts will start pointing a finger at Nico. So it's set. Either FC Dallas is facing playoff elimination, or ticket sales drop significantly enough that the Hunts go, Nico, you got to go.
Well,
After that, I don't think he's in the hot seat though.
let's go ahead and jump over to some. I was able to talk to Nico after the match against LAFC, and if we saw, I said, have you seen improvement between even those two matches this week? Gave a long answer. Here's his perspective.
Comparing, I think if you analyze this week, right, we play against RSL, the number one in the West, that they beat Austin 5-1 today. And then we saw really good, like around 45, 50 minutes, really well played from us in that game, right? We played the Galaxy, and we were a little bit more inconsistent on the defensive side against Galaxy, but I think on the offensive side, we had the ball, we control long possessions, and we create some chances. But it wasn't like a complete performance. Today, I think overall, and this is what I told the players, we have had some good performances, maybe defending or maybe in the attacking side, but this is the most complete performance that we have this year in every aspect, on the defensive side, on the attacking side. The only thing that we were missing today, it was the last pass and the last action in the final third. Besides that, I think we playing away, dominating the possession the way that we have dominated, then coming to press us getting away, creating these momentums, and it's a pity that we weren't clean enough in the last third that to get a goal. On the other hand, they have quality. They had a couple situations and chances that I think we could defend better, but overall we didn't allow this team to do much in their home. And I think overall, I think we can build from today. Today, I think is the first time. And the moments that I said about RSL and Galaxy, and I told the players, where I don't feel that we are not the better team. You know what I mean? I think we had a lot of good things to see. We can beat this team. We can beat this team. And some games this year, I didn't have that feeling. But lately, against Houston, against Austin, against RSL, against Galaxy, and today, I feel the team can compete against any team in the league now. And this is what I told the players. The thing is, like, even that we couldn't do, even that we did well, it doesn't reflect anything on the table. Like, we didn't get a point. We didn't get 3 points. We don't move from where we are. Now we have to make sure that these that we're building and these good progress that we're having, we turn into points and make us progress in the table. It's not only about progressing on performances and feeling better that we can beat the team. It's about beating the opponent, and it's about getting points on and move higher in the table.
Yeah, it's a lot there to unpack. I think from Nico's perspective, very analytical, very calm, which I hear is how he is. It's how he is with his players too. He's a really calming presence. And I mean, I don't disagree with him at all. I mean, I think the team did look a lot better against LAFC. They're putting some pieces together and having some confidence, and having most guys healthy helps part of that too. But yes, still lacking the final product, still lacking the final bit of beauty from the match that they needed to sort of unlock Los Angeles FC and find an equalizer, find a go ahead
I think
goal.
that's what people say, what people call just they didn't have any ideas. They, like I said, they did well with possession. They looked competent, but once they got into the attacking third, they just simply looked clueless, and that's what the problem with not having a playmaker, someone who can break down the defense consistently. We've seen them do that against teams that were bunkering down, but LAFC wasn't bunkering down. Team just couldn't come up with any ideas on how to get around the LAFC defense.
Hmm.
and I think that's what he's saying. He's just not saying it that way. I do agree. It's the best performance um, for the team that I've seen. They played a high quality team, and they honestly went toe to toe with that team for the majority of the match. They didn't look like a beaten team, and that was it. The difference is LAFC. They had plenty of ideas, and they had players to execute them, and Dallas simply just could not get anything going. I think that one header from Musa, that's the one time when I was like, oh, why don't they do that more often?
Yeah.
But but
Well, and
yeah,
Musa almost had an equalizer, which really was close, if not for um, the keeper. It would have been a half from half
yeah, I
field
know what you're saying.
midfield
I know what
chip.
you're saying.
It was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
pretty cheeky play. Good for him to try that, and really close. But yeah,
But
it's
you like to see that, though. You like to
sure.
see that. Like I said, that's what I said. That and the header are probably the only two flashes of hey, we know how to attack them.
Yeah,
For the most part, the team did everything else other than outside of the attack well. They played well on the back line. They did well on staying 50-50 possession wise with LAFC by turning them over, maintaining possession, but they just could not figure out how to attack the LAFC defense, and that's always been an issue with this team. I just want to say that in the last 2-3 games, the difference between those 3 games and the rest of the season is that LAFC sorry, that FC Dallas simply looked like they were still in preseason form for most of those games. In the last 3 games, they are finally starting to look like a team that's in actual season form. But I would say, unlike other teams who are nearing midseason form, FC Dallas is uh, uh, they're finally starting to get into season form, but they're nowhere near to being in the midseason form.
yeah,
So that's the thing, is the team simply seems to be behind
yeah.
on teams as far as that aspect, and it's been the same the last 2 years, in all honesty. So um, I don't know how to explain it. Just that's the thing, is they don't look like they're in preseason form anymore, and that's the best way I can explain it.
Yeah, and hopefully that can translate at some point, unlock. I mean, we thought we were beginning to see something with those wins at home, and with even with the RSL game. Uh, Injuries certainly have disrupted. They're a big part of it, and Nico did say later on when I was talking to him that they feel like they're close. Now, Tumasi did go off against LAFC at halftime with some soreness. That may be something to watch out for. And Areola came into his place in that right wing back role, so we'll see if that kind of continues on. A
Yeah,
lot of questions about that.
I also want to remind people that last year the team was in a similar downward spiral entering League's Cup, and it was that performance in League's Cup that seemed to wake the team up and seemed to get the team, where they actually had a fighting chance at making the playoffs. But going into uh, League's Cup last year, that's when FC Dallas was in a very bad spot, a dark spot, not as dark as right now, but still pretty dark.
Yeah.
And League's Cup helped this team kind of break out of that and show life and then start going. So just a reminder.
I just love the spirit of positivity in the FC Dallas fan base right now from those who watch. But
you
yeah,
you can't help it. I mean when your team is mired in a potentially worst season ever type spin, and it will remain that in the fans' eyes until that skid is stopped.
yeah,
Until then, they're just I want to say they're pessimistic, but the truth is the team's given our fans plenty of reason to be pessimistic, and you can't really fault them for it. The
yeah.
fans, that is.
Right, and but and it gets so bleak that it's a draw. We would have been pretty excited for at times some of these matches. But hey, that's the ups and downs of this season. In good news, look, if there is a positive, is that we know. Hey, Jim Earl Berry, nice to have you on with us. And you just, yeah, well, you got a discount on it. You did get a discount at right now, since part.
Uh, this is
But
true, but Jesus, I lost my track of mind. I was gonna say that. No, never mind. I lost it.
well,
I lost the
well, I was
thought.
going to
It'll
say
come
this.
back to
Like
me.
my
Carry on.
my positives are Musa's legit. We have a legit striker to build around, and he's with the team. Martin Paz is just phenomenal, and the birdie told me that that there might be some contract conversations, down the line of just extending his stay. I think we know Jesus for Jesus certainly is still young, still improving in ways, growing. Um, but he is a piece that he can create havoc and danger. So, and Delgado, Patrickson Delgado is this other story that the team is just going to have to purchase him. They're going to have to figure that out. What's been interesting is that even though he may long term look to be more of a deeper center midfielder, Nico's been pretty clear, at least twice, of saying no. He is primarily played as a number 10 throughout his career, and that's what we scouted him for and what we want him for. He played number 10 with, I think, Ajax reserve team, I think, and in his youth in Ecuador. And he was actually on the list to potentially make the cut for the Ecuadorian national team because he has been in such good form, but couldn't beat out the people in front of him. So really nice find there. Someone to build around, someone who has been the bright spot in this run, and I think is going to get better. I think against LAFC, he just looked exhausted at times. It was clear he is adjusting to the physicality of the league and everything. But
Still a very young player, so
yeah,
so
and really, defensively, we got veteran guys. Yeah, they're not maybe world beaters. They're not, but Omar Gonzalez stepped in and gave a very solid account. And Marco Farfan too. I think Marco Farfan. I just love that kid and love what he brings to the table for this team. In that back, so there are definitely pieces here to build around, to be excited about, even as we acknowledge that there are other players that really just need to step up their game to those guys' levels, and show that they have a long future here in FC Dallas too, especially if this year is going to be one of those that ends up being a kind of an opportunity to refresh some of the roster and stuff like that.
yeah, I think Delgado has impressed everyone with his play, with him playing higher because we were all shocked at first. It's like, isn't he a 6? But he's played very well. I mean, there's clearly some truth to the fact that he's not a 6 and is used to playing higher. Uh, so uh, also pass. I mean, right now an extension for this guy is like a must. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean, the guy
because
is the team right now. So pay the man.
pay the
Uh,
man.
pay the
He,
man whatever he
I
wants.
asked Nico about that. I didn't include that clip, but I was just like, man, he is playing. Is there is there pressure to keep him here longer? And Nico said, that's not his. He doesn't have those kind of conversations with the players, and the agents and stuff. But he said Martin loves it here, and so that's a good thing for this team. Well, let's shift over before we come back to FC Dallas, and we'll talk about Minnesota match. But hey, after those two somewhat disappointing experiences where I went in person, and I will say it again, Dignity Health Sports Park, Galaxy Stadium, it's a little bit of the era of FC Dallas Stadium. It's a nice stadium, but you can definitely tell it's a little bit older model. But you go to BMO Stadium, and I highly recommend it for any soccer fan. If you get out west and you're in LA for a match, it's just a really nice stadium, really well thought out. Great fan experience, great amenities. It's just a cool environment, and the way they have the fans set up and the supporters groups and stuff. It just adds to the atmosphere, even if it's not a full crowd. And it wasn't a full crowd on Saturday at all. but a really nice experience to go. But still disappointing to be there, 2 losses in a row. But then on Sunday night, I got to go see North Texas in person for the first time as they played up the road in Fullerton at CS California State University Fullerton campus in a college stadium, kind of old school itself. And let me tell you, if FC Dallas has you down in the dumps, watch some North Texas. Go back and watch this game from Sunday night. There were some first teamers mixed in, so they're guys who are there trying to develop and maybe with their player even going to make a case sooner rather than later that they deserve some minutes with the senior team. I mean, guys like Isaiah Parker, who had an excellent game. Herbert Indele, excellent game. Thomas Mondeka, excellent game. Tariq Scott, who's just scoring now and looks the part of being a real help up top for FC Dallas. So they went into this and got an early red card to Michael Collodi, the keeper, who was trying to clear a ball. It looked like it was going to be a long night, a miserable night for North Texas, as they wanted to translate some of their good run in at home on the road. And then the team just fired themselves up. They were livid about the call. The call was probably a little harsh, maybe not. And down a man, they went down and they took the lead. They just sliced through LAFC2. Then LAFC2 is one of their first teamers, Thomas Angel. He earned a stupid second yellow, and so it was even at that point. But North Texas didn't stop. They just looked a class apart of LAFC2, who is the second ranked team in the Western Conference. It's just below FC Dallas. And it didn't seem like that's fair. Like it would seem like it was men against boys. And I tell you then, so 4-0 crushing, dominating result in their own house. The crowd got quiet, and you had guys like Thomas Pondeka firing up the crowd too, of just enjoying and relishing the role of spoiling that home game for all those LAFC fans. Quite a fun day of soccer that was. That was a nice cap to end a pretty miserable week. And I can just say, let's go ahead and jump over to Coach Gall on what he saw from the team's response. It wasn't. I was told by Coach Zobek that it may not have been, but it looks like your boys responded to that moment. Collodi was sent off, a lot of fire. So what did you make of the team's response after that moment?
No, incredible. I mean, it's a really together team. It's a team that fights for each other. We talk about this on a consistent basis. We've talked to the team about, team first mentality. We've talked to the team about doing everything they can for their teammates. And at the end of the day, Michael has been incredible for us for the first 10 games of the season. And we had his back tonight. That's kind of where we're at, and that's what we do, and that's the environment that I've tried to create and the culture I've tried to create within the team, and all credit to the guys for responding the way that they did, and to be able to come out here and win 4-0 against the second place team in the West is a credit to the boys. So
the fire from the team last night was just so much, and the joy they brought to the game was just so much fun. And here's what I'll say, Jose, and I'll be curious your response. I think John Gall is already making himself a potential, maybe another year or two, potential head coaching candidate name. I mean, what he's getting out of these guys and his professionalism and his fight and his ability to motivate these guys is just pretty darn special. I'm really enjoying this team play.
I mean, they're seem to just be getting better and better as the season progresses. A fun team to watch. Tariq Scott, who was in line, for a big season last year with North Texas. He misses it. He misses the season, comes back, and he's starting to show you what the team missed last year. He was going to be a centerpiece of that attack, and now, he's probably not anywhere near close to being 100%, and he's out there just balling. Absolutely. I'm loving watching this team play, and please do yourself a favor and watch them play, because they are that good. And some of these kids will hopefully eventually start helping the senior team at some point.
That's right. Well, it's a lot of fun, and That's an extra bonus to your season pass subscription, by the way, is you can watch some of these MLS Next Pro. And not
I
all the
also
games
wanted
are wonderful, but hey.
I also wanted to add that how strange that game was. You know, with our goalkeeper getting that red card. Then I believe Tarek Scott scored. You know, even though the team was down a man, and they were up 1-0, and then of course you had the second yellow card that evened up the odds, and it was honestly it was all North Texas since they went down a man, you know, and then I think LAFC getting that red card and bringing them down to 10. My goodness, that just made it even worse for them because they were already getting outplayed, you know, when they were up a man.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And by the way, congratulations to Nolan Norris, who I did speak with him briefly this week. Congratulated him on the U19 call up. He left yesterday to go travel with the team. Otherwise, he might have played some minutes against LAFC too. But really good for him. And Nico Gordon, who I'm really impressed by as a really standout, solid defender. Getting called up to the Montserrat national team, so giving him some extra experience to his belt. He's fun to watch. He's a real leader on the field, kind of directing things and communicating with the coaches. Brings some savvy to that team, even though he's still very young as well. So much to like. So much to like.
I just want to answer this and
Sure.
say, Nico. He still has a very good chance of finishing out the season. Really, like I said, the Hunts aren't really going to fire him unless they feel the team has no chance of, is losing the chance to get to the playoffs. It's way too early for that. And, there's quite a few teams in the West that are worse, far worse than Dallas. And Dallas will have to play those guys coming up eventually. And so they'll be close to the playoff line. That's the only time he gets fired, in all honesty. And like I said, that or unless like the fans stop showing up and attendance plummets, that could also get him fired.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think he ends the season, and then we'll see. We'll try again next year. Too early for that. Sorry.
Yeah, well, and we've seen two head coach dismissals already. We've seen Nashville, which was somewhat of an interesting decision to let go of Gary Smith, and the team has sort of been in the same place since that. But the word I heard this week was that Smith was receiving interest from some other teams, so it may have been they decided to part ways in advance of that as sort of as a mutual kind of thing. But and then we've seen today Pineda from Atlanta United was let go. So there's going to be some openings. It's interesting to see other teams kind of how they're calculating it differently.
Yes, but I mean, you have to say that that comes down to different franchise expectations.
Yeah,
and the FC Dallas expectations are not that high, not as high as some of these other teams who demand and expect their teams to compete for titles. And if it doesn't matter if they're having an okay season, if they don't look like a team that can throw for the title, some of those managers will get fired, and we'll be like, why did that happen? Well, the franchise just has higher expectations, And that's not the case here.
Yeah, and I could see, the Hunts waiting till near the very end of the season when, as you said, Jose, all hope of playoffs is lost, and even then waiting until the end of the season because I think Nico's contract is up at the end of the year anyway, so there could be an easy out for them at that point. And if they are thinking of a guy like John Gall eventually getting promoted, I don't think you want to repeat what you did with Lucci, who you want John to get some seasoning. He is an experienced guy. He's coached at a lot of different levels, but give him some time with North Texas and before you just move him up. But maybe he's your guy. Maybe you're ready. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you have to
we're all
figure
going to
that.
watch this, but I think Dallas is going to make a run at some point, and they're going to keep finding ways to keep Nico's seat a little less warm.
Yeah, like I said, this team's starting to get healthier. They're starting to look better. Yes, they're losing against some pretty good teams. I know I still hear people complaining about the RSL draw, but my goodness, man, the match before the Dallas match, RSL was down 2-0 against Colorado and won 5-3. So they put 5 goals in against Colorado. Then of course they had the rally against Dallas, that 3-3 draw, and then last week this last match they won 5-1 against Austin. So that's 13 goals in 3 games, and Dallas is the only team that didn't lose. So I keep hearing people complain about the. Yes, it hurts
Mm-hmm.
that they squandered that 3-0 lead. But RSL has done this to everyone they've played in the past month, simply blitzing team after team after team, and I don't get it. It's like that's not a bad result for FC Dallas at all.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. You see how red hot RSL is, and I'm just tired of hearing of seeing people complaining about that game. It's like, my man, Dallas should have lost
Mm-hmm.
against RSL, wherever that match was going to get played, home or on the road, because the fact is RSL is just steamrolling everybody right now.
Yeah.
And the way FC Dallas played that match, yes, they were up 3-0, but my goodness, RSL could have scored 5 goals on them. It wasn't for Mr. Paz, of course.
Yeah. Really, and even LAFC went into the game on like a 4-game winning streak, having not conceded a goal in those 4 games. That's why I didn't know even if if scoring a
But
goal was
they came in on a 6-match winning streak, wasn't it? Something like that.
something like that.
Something
Yeah, no,
ridiculous like that.
and not having conceded a goal in 4 or 5 matches. So it's obviously it's in strong form, and so just to lose 1-0, to sort of be in contention, to be pushing for an equalizer, on the road. That's kind of where you want to put yourself as much as you can, manage those games and look for points. But yeah, I think that's why some fans are panicking. Some fans are really upset. Be upset. Be a fan. All that kind of stuff. Sports commentator folks, or we watch it. We have some levity and everybody's. But I get it. I get the disappointment, and at the same time, you can also add some. You can add some mix of perspective to some of these matches and some of these games. It's
Yeah.
not simply that Dallas is going to steamroll everyone. I just don't think they're that good of a team yet.
Well, like I said,
Yeah.
they're a team that's in bad form. Playing the last 3 teams they played are all teams that are in excellent form. I RSL currently on a 12-match unbeaten run. The Galaxy, I believe, were on a 7-match unbeaten run, and LAFC also had like a 7-match on. So all 3 of those teams came in on runs, and Minnesota United isn't on any kind of run like that. So I mean, they may have a shot, but let's face it, they're the third place team in the West. So
Mm-hmm.
another terrible match on the
Well,
road.
and the thing I heard in the fan chat on Twitter is that Minnesota has quite a number of players they're going to be missing for international call-ups. So it could be a perfect opportunity for Dallas to really steal some points in a tough place to play. They have stolen points there in the past. So, to kind of breast up a little bit this week and then build on some of the positives from the performances and get something going.
Yeah, and I do believe they have lost a match at home, and that was against Houston of all teams. So I do think the team has a shot at getting some points, because I'd forgotten about that, but I had seen that they were going to miss 2 or 3 players to international duty. So, yeah, of course, that is supposing that the team continues to play well and doesn't revert to what they look like, 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Well, we need to leave it there. We got soccer to look forward to, but also a little slower week without the midweek game, and of course Open Cup action. Which, man, I wish we were playing that round earlier because Sporting Kansas City is really terrible right now. That'd be a nice pick me up for FC Dallas, but it won't be till July, and so we'll have to wait a little bit on that round of action to see where Kansas City is then. But man, I just want this team to build some positivity, get to ease the burden some more, and really build for this summer and find that form that they've been looking for. At the very least, even if you're going to lose some of these games, I want to see more entertaining soccer. I want to see them play. I want to see the senior team play like North Texas and just play with a lot of joy and creativity.
True.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Well, we'll leave it there. I'll be posting the audio tomorrow on afterburn.soccer. You can, of course, subscribe to the site for free and support our work. And hopefully we'll continue to have some interesting content. I'll be posting some video clips this week, including a bit from the post game with Isaiah Parker. It's nice to hear about sort of his development and see him growing with North Texas, because that can mean good things for FC Dallas. Thanks, Jose. We'll get your camera fixed somehow.
Thank you. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night.